I stood in the driveway at 6 in the morning, scraping ice off the windshield with the edge of a credit card. My breath came out in clouds. The street was silent, except for the scrape of plastic on frozen glass. Inside, the house was dark. She was still asleep. I didn't know it yet, but that would be one of the last mornings I'd stand in that driveway. My name's Daniel. I'm 41. I've been married for 13 years. For most of that time, I thought we had built something solid. I thought partnership meant showing up, handling things, making sure the foundation stayed strong, even when it wasn't exciting. I thought love meant staying consistent when life got complicated. I was wrong about what she thought it meant. We met in our late 20s. She was working in marketing. I was in finance, mid-level, stable. Nothing flashy, but reliable. She liked that about me, or at least she said she did. I wasn't the kind of guy who made big romantic gestures or talked about feelings constantly, but I was present. I paid attention. I handled things. When we got married, I took on most of the financial responsibility without us ever really discussing it. It just happened. She wanted to shift into consulting work, something more flexible, and I supported that. My income covered the mortgage, the cars, the insurance, the retirement contributions. She brought in money here and there, but it was inconsistent. I didn't mind. I figured we were building something together. Over the years, I noticed small things. She never asked how work was going. She didn't seem interested in the budgets I managed or the decisions I made to keep us stable. If I mentioned stress, she'd say something vague like, "You'll figure it out," and change the subject. I told myself it didn't matter. Not everyone shows care the same way, but she always paid attention to other people's money. She'd mention a friend's new car, a colleague's vacation, someone's husband's promotion. Not in an envious way exactly, but in a way that made it clear she was tracking it. She'd compare our life to theirs in small comments. They just bought a place in the mountains. He got another bonus this quarter. She said they're doing Europe for 3 weeks. I didn't think much of it. People talk. People notice things. Then, 2 years ago, she reconnected with an old college acquaintance named Bradley. He'd become a billionaire. Actually, a billionaire. Some kind of tech equity situation that paid out massively during an acquisition. She saw his name in an article and looked him up. Then she messaged him. Just friendly, she said. Just catching up. They started texting. Then calling. Then meeting for coffee when he was in town. She'd come home from those meetings different. Lighter, more animated. She'd talk about his houses, his travel, the way he talked about business and opportunities. She said it was inspiring. She said it was good to be around people who thought bigger. I didn't stop her. I'm not that kind of husband. But I felt something shift. One night in late November, we were sitting in the living room. Snow had just started falling outside. She was on her phone, smiling at something. I asked who she was texting. Bradley, she said. She didn't look up. What's he saying? He's in Singapore. He just closed some deal. He's thinking about buying a place in Aspen. I nodded. I didn't say anything. She finally looked at me. He asked if we wanted to visit sometime. He has a guest house. That's nice of him, I said. She tilted her head. You don't sound excited. I don't know him. You could get to know him. He's brilliant, Daniel. The way he sees the world, it's just different. I didn't argue. I just nodded and went back to my book. But I felt it. The distance. The comparison I wasn't part of. By December, I'd made a decision. I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to accuse her of anything or start a fight. I was going to do something much simpler. I was going to let her show me who she was. I met with my business attorney and my accountant. I told them I needed to restructure my financial position in a way that would be visible, legal, and temporary. I wasn't hiding assets. I wasn't laundering anything. I was just moving money in a way that would make it look like I'd lost it. They asked why. I said, I need to know if my marriage is based on who I am or what I provide. They didn't argue. Over the next few weeks, I repositioned investments, shifted funds into trusts under my parents' names, moved liquidity into accounts that wouldn't show up on joint statements. I stopped contributing to certain accounts. I let bills sit for a few extra days. I created the appearance of financial trouble without actually destroying anything. On paper, it looked like I was failing Dot, and then I told her Dot it was a Friday night in mid-January. Snow was piled along the curbs, frozen solid. The house was cold even with the heat on. That kind of cold that gets into the walls. She was folding laundry in the bedroom. I sat on the edge of the bed. I need to talk to you about something, I said, Dot. She looked up. Okay, I'm filing for bankruptcy. She stopped folding. What? I made some bad investments. Timing was wrong. I'm going to lose most of the liquidity we had. Her face went pale. How much? Enough that we'll need to downsize. Sell the house, probably. Move somewhere smaller. She just stared at me. I'm sorry, I said. I thought I had it under control. I didn't. She put the laundry down. Her hands were shaking. When were you going to tell me? I'm telling you now. Daniel, this affects both of us. You should have said something months ago. I know. I didn't want to worry you until I was sure. She stood up. She paced to the window and looked out at the frozen street. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she said, I need to think. That was it. No questions about what happened. No asking what we'd do next. Just, I need to think. She spent the next week on her phone constantly. She wasn't texting me. She was texting Bradley. I know because I saw his name on her screen one morning when she left it on the kitchen counter. The preview of the message said, I just don't know if I can do this. She didn't notice I'd seen it. 2 weeks later, she sat me down, Dot. It was late afternoon. The sky was that flat gray color winter gets when the sun never really breaks through. She'd made coffee, which she almost never did. I think we should separate, she said. I didn't react. I just looked at her. I love you, she continued, but I don't think we're in the same place anymore. I don't think we want the same things. What things? Security, stability, a future that feels solid. I've given you that for 13 years. I know. But things have changed. You've changed. I lost money, Sarah. That's not the same as changing. She looked down at her coffee. I just think it's better if we both move forward separately. Are you seeing Bradley? She didn't flinch. That's not what this is about. But are you? He's been a friend. He's been supportive. Supportive how? He listens. He understands what I'm going through. I leaned back in my chair. What you're going through? Yes, you mean my bankruptcy. She didn't answer. I nodded slowly. Okay. She looked surprised. Okay? Yeah, if that's what you want, we'll separate. Asterisk, she seemed almost relieved. Like she'd expected me to fight, and was glad I didn't. We divided things calmly. She took her car, her clothes, some furniture. I kept the house because she didn't want to stay in it. She said it felt too small now. Too cold. She moved into a short-term rental downtown. I helped her carry boxes up the stairs. The hallway smelled like old carpet and heating vents. It was nothing like the house. She didn't complain. Bradley came to visit her 3 times that month. I know because a mutual friend mentioned seeing them at a restaurant, then at a coffee shop, then at a hotel bar. I didn't ask her about it. That by February, the divorce papers were drawn up. She signed quickly. She didn't ask for much. She said she just wanted to move on. I signed to Dot the day the divorce finalized. I called my attorney. Go ahead and reverse it, I said. All of it? All of it? It took less than a week. The funds moved back into active accounts. The trusts dissolved. The investments reappeared. On paper, I went from insolvent to solvent in 72 hours. My accountant called me. You know she's going to find out eventually. I know. What are you going to say? Nothing. I don't owe her an explanation anymore. He paused. You're a cold son of a bitch, Daniel. No, I said. I'm just clear now. Sarah found out 6 weeks later. A mutual friend saw a financial disclosure. I'd filed for a consulting contract and mentioned it to her. Sarah called me 4 times in 1 hour. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Daniel, I heard something today. I need you to call me, please. I deleted it. She showed up at the house 2 days later. I saw her car pull into the driveway through the front window. She sat there for a minute before getting out. It was snowing again. Light flakes that stuck to her coat as she walked to the door. I opened it before she knocked. You lied to me, she said. No, I restructured. Then I restructured again. You made me think we were broke. We were never broke. I was just moving money. Her voice went up. Why would you do that? Because I needed to know if you loved me or what I provided. Now I know. She stared at me. That's insane, is it? You left the moment you thought the money was gone. You didn't ask what we'd do. You didn't suggest we work together. You just started texting Bradley. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. That's not fair. It's accurate. You manipulated me. I gave you a choice. You made it. She looked like she wanted to cry, but wouldn't let herself. I would have stayed if you'd just been honest. No, you wouldn't have. You would have stayed if I'd been rich. She turned and walked back to her car without another word. She didn't look back. I watched her drive away. The snow was coming down heavier now. Her tire tracks filled in slowly. I haven't spoken to her since. I heard from the same mutual friend that she's still seeing Bradley. They traveled together. He bought her something expensive for her birthday. She posts photos sometimes, carefully cropped. No tags. I don't follow her anymore, but people tell me things. I don't feel victorious. I don't feel vindicated. I feel something quieter than that. I spent 13 years building a life with someone who thought love was a transaction. I thought sacrifice meant something. I thought consistency mattered. I thought showing up every single day, handling the weight, making sure everything stayed stable. I thought that would be enough. That it wasn't. Not because I didn't do enough, but because she was never measuring love. She was measuring value. And value, to her, was dollar signs. The house is quieter now. I've started cooking for myself again. I take walks in the evening when the neighborhood is empty. The cold doesn't bother me the way it used to. I'm not angry anymore. Anger would mean I expected something different. I just see clearly now. Some people love you for who you are. Some people love you for what you provide. And some people don't realize there's a difference until the provision stops. I gave Sarah every opportunity to prove which kind of person she was. She proved it. I think about that morning in the driveway, scraping ice off the windshield in the dark. How I didn't know it was one of the last times I'd stand there as a married man. If I could go back, I wouldn't change anything, because now I know. And knowing, even when it's painful, is better than spending the rest of your life wondering if the person beside you would still be there. If everything fell apart, she wouldn't have been. And now, when I stand in the driveway on cold mornings, scraping ice under a gray sky, I don't feel the weight of her absence. I feel the lightness of certainty. The snow falls. The street stays quiet, and I know exactly what I'm worth. Not in dollars, not in presents. In consistency. In the kind of love that doesn't disappear when the numbers change. She'll never know the full truth about what I did. She'll never understand that the bankruptcy was a mirror, not a mistake. And I'm fine with that, Dot, because the truth was never for her, Dot. It was for me, Dot, and in the silence of this winter. In the cold clarity of empty streets and frozen mornings, I finally understand what I should have known all along. You can't build a life with someone who's only there for the comfort. You can only build it with someone who'd stay in the cold.